wanted to say there was something interesting that happened with the residency program and the residency exchange when the Eastern European artists came to Tanzania, and vice versa, the East African artists came to Poland, because it was a research residency, and they were exploring each other's histories. And in the works that they produced, they found quite a lot of similarities in their histories and the way things are. So for me, that would never have happened if there was no movement and physical engagement of the spaces and the people that we want to work with. So for me, that was actually quite interesting to see.
Then we started to dig a little bit deeper. Is it possible to have another deconfining? This project is under Creative Europe, so a program of the European Union, and actually the answer was no. Actually, because of what is happening in the world, that was not the case in 2021 when we were preparing the application. There is a huge change, and if in 2021 there were so many people saying, yes, this is the right moment, we should build the European-African relations, we need to test it, we need to develop, we want to have it like very vivid. Now even the rules are the same, all the rules and procedures didn't change. It's no longer the case. It's not on the table anymore.
Majority of the work that we do with partners who are outside Tanzania, which is mainly through emails and Zoom calls, Carolina flew all the way to Nafasi and sat with me under one of our trees and canopies and explained to me what was happening, what she was doing, what she was looking for. So instantly for me, that built trust with her, this person who we could have been a Zoom call, really. But in a way that she puts that much care and effort to come in and to also make other networks when we were there, because they became very useful after the embassy. They became very useful during the project itself. So for me, that way of approaching work, approaching a partnership was very surprising.
Usually we translate our books into French, German, English, so lingua franca, the colonial languages. And this book was translated into Kiswahili, right? Hungarian?
Yes.
Polish?
Yes.
And?
Nyanja!
Welcome everyone to our next part of art survival art review on one of the last days. Tomorrow is the last day. After a very hot weekend, I'm happy that you're all here and also here on stage. We're gonna speak about DECONFINING art project, DECONFINING project that lasted 4 years of collaboration between many individuals, organizations across 2 continents, Europe and Africa, or Africa and Europe. And some of the individuals and representatives of organizations are here with me on stage. And I will introduce you from my left, Karolina Bieniak, Director of Art Transparent, also Doctor of Social Sciences and Specialist in Foreign Policy and Culture Diplomacy. Then we have Urszula Markowska-Manista, working at the University of Warsaw, Doctor of Habilitation, Academic and Field Researcher, and also a co-editor of the DECONFINING e-publication. We also have Lilian Hippolyte Mushi, the director of Nafasi Art Space in Dar el Salam in Tanzania. And last but not least, we have Barna Petrani, managing director of Progressione in Budapest, Hungary. And my name is Patrycja Rozwora. I am an artist and independent cultural worker today, representing Contemporary Links, one of the organizations I work with. Contemporary Links is an art organization, but mainly a magazine It started as an online and offline magazine, but now completely moved online. And we publish, it started as a place to publish texts and information about artists from Central and Eastern Europe in English for the English-speaking audience, but of course, I think it's hard to define it like East and West. So it became a space to share information and the newest the news of the art world, both in terms of established but also upcoming artists. I wanted to divide today's conversation into parts, since we're going to speak about Deconfining, a project that lasted 4 years, and it's very hard to speak about it in 1 hour or 1.5 hours. I thought we will mainly focus on celebrating this time, as this is the last moment we are in an official way speaking about this project in arts. In this moment here in Wrocław at Art Survival. For some organizations, Deconfining was a bit shorter, for some a bit longer, but Art Transparent is kind of having this moment, the last official moment today, and I think this is beautiful that we can be here on stage and do that. So in the first part, we're going to look back at it and celebrate a bit. Karolina, in our call before the conversation, you said let's do like wspominajki, so like small memories, something we would maybe mention while having food and not necessarily on the official stage, so some kind of oral histories and stories that happened in the past 4 years. And then we also look towards the future. What did actually this collaboration between various Central and Eastern European countries, as well as Southern Eastern African countries, bring, and how can this kind of collaboration still look like in the future with the very much changing world, as we all know, in various ways. For the very, very beginning of my questions to you, dear panelists and guests, of course, when you start a project like this, there's a lot of ideas of how it will be, and like this big imagination of like how this big collaboration can look like, and planning of it, writing, of course, text to receive money for it, and so on. And it looks very different 4 years ago when it's finalized. So what surprised you the most within these years of how you kind of had it in mind and how it turned out to be? And we spoke with Lilian before that we would like to keep the panel like a positive and share the what worked. And yeah, I think you can choose democratically who will start. Everyone is
okay, this was very democratic, you know. Okay, so yes, I can start. So actually, it was a hello, good afternoon. I'm super happy to be here today with you and to be able to talk about this very, very actually long journey we all had for even more than 4 years. Because in order to have a 4 years long project, one needs to cooperate for even longer. So I know these folks for many, many years already. We cooperate, we co-organize, we facilitate different projects. And in order to build such a great consortium as Deconfining is, we had to have like at least the whole life of my son, who is almost 8. So I remember exactly, he was almost 9 months old when I was invited by Sylvia Aman to join a workshop in Rijeka in Croatia to start the discussion about the possibility to create such a like at that time very crazy project. Now of course it's yeah, you know. And so it's such a long period of time, and I'm like very excited, and I'm very tired after so many days of survival, and I already forgot your question. I'm sorry.
It was still a very nice introduction, and I think it adjusted a lot of stuff that I didn't manage to say. But yeah, what surprised you the most from the stage of planning the project, and as you said, like having your son being 9 months old, and yeah, 4 or more than 4 years later, what you didn't expect that will happen?
Well, I knew that it will happen, but you know, you're at the very beginning of the road. You expect everything. So I believe that the most important thing that happened are the relations. So people and relations between people, because, you know, we started from scratch and not knowing so many different people from all corners. So DECONFINING is a consortium of 12 organizations from the European Union and even more from African countries, from all corners of Africa. So we were strangers. And over the period of time, we became friends and relatives, and you know, it's so strong. So this is my biggest surprise, and I'm very proud of that, to be honest.
Lilian.
Hi everyone. First of all, I'm so glad, happy, and feel at home to be back in Wrocław and in Poland. And I say that because from the beginning of this project, which for me truly was surprising, was the way Transparent and Carolina approached the partnership with so much care. Like majority of the work that we do with partners who are outside Tanzania, which is mainly through emails and Zoom calls, Carolina flew all the way to Nafasi and sat with me under one of our trees and canopies and explained to me what was happening, what she was doing, what she was looking for. So instantly for me, that built trust with her, this person who we could have been a Zoom call, really. But in a way that she puts that much care and effort to come in and to also make other networks when we were there, because they became very useful after the embassy. They became very useful during the project itself. So for me, that way of approaching work, approaching a partnership was very surprising, especially from this side. Usually it's an application form, it's an email, it's a Zoom call, and then you do the project. So I'm very happy about that. Yeah.
In terms of Pro Progressiona, what was the surprise? Or
yeah, we were the last one joining. That was also surprising, but for me, yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Sorry, we all have to repeat this. For me, what was really, really surprising is the way of how we were able to share values and understanding. And I think it's not that easy. So I'm working in several projects with huge institutions like university from a Scandinavian country, which still doesn't really, you know, understand that we are certain centuries has passed. And I think we overcome it very, very nicely and smoothly, as also without talking about it. And for me, that was really surprising that we could, you know, understand this this approach and this situation. Yeah, that was for me the most surprising.
Ursula, you come more from the academic area, working now, but you do, of course, contribute a lot here in Art Transparent for many years as well. Yeah, what was there for you that stood out?
Yes, so good afternoon, everyone, and that's right. I'm first of all from academia, from the university. So my perspective at the beginning was connected with publication, and I remember the question: are you able, would you like to be a part of this project? But it's not scientific, right? It's art. And I was very, very happy because, it was something in between. If you remember our book, the first version in English, you can find there different chapters, and I would like to say different melody in every chapter, because for me it's not only a book, it's something like a music, and with every word and every sentence we can play and we can deeper and deeper understand the messages from different authors and their experiences they decided to share. So for me it was really surprising that even if I publish many books at the university and between different universities, this book was and is still very unique, and there is something else, because this is only one book which was translated into very important languages of the partners in this project. Usually we translate our books into French, German, English, so lingua franca, the colonial languages. And this book was translated into Kiswahili, right? Hungarian?
Yes.
Polish?
Yes.
And?
Nyanja.
Exactly. So I was very happy, and it was something like a big smile on my face when Carolina just texted me, now we have also the Zambian translation. So thanks for that. This is the biggest surprise, and this is, in my opinion, also the way how we can deconfine and decolonialize the knowledge we share with books, and we also just transform the messages from all the chapters in this book.
Well done to the translators also, I can imagine.
Of course.
It was probably not easy to find them.
No.
All the languages, yeah. And we already mentioned the important outcome of it, the e-publication, but there was many other forms that now still can be viewed in terms of documentation, but also work itself. Maybe we could do a little review of those things that happened, because I can imagine there was a lot happening that didn't have like an exhibition or publication outcome, but there was also stuff that did happen and can be viewed somewhere online, and those who didn't have a chance can go back to see that. So apart from the e-publication, what has been produced in these 4 years?
So, everything was financed by the EU, and the EU loves to make things difficult. So, but in a good way. So the project is organized in the so-called work packages. So as we are here, we work for or within the work package 4, which is called festivals. And therefore we had a chance to, and the big word is testing. We had a chance to test somehow the collaboration by using different formats. The most important format for us was artistic residencies. So it all started when actually Lilian Samba, who is here with us, but also Natasha, who is a co-editor of the publication, as well with Fifi, also curator from Dar es Salaam. They came for the first residency. That was also Survival Art Review, but like 4 years ago, I don't remember exactly right now, 4 years ago. And that was the very beginning of our collaboration. The ladies came in order to do the research, do the networking, so that we can start our further collaboration. The next step was with Women's History Museum in Lusaka to create an open call for the text for the publication, and with Nafasi Art Space to create two open calls, right? One for Central European artists and the second for East African artists. That was one thing, but this is one collaboration, but also Barna and Pro Progressione. These folks, they had another way of working and some other formats, because as Art Transparent works in visual arts, Pro Progressione is rooted in performance. So maybe...
Should I summarize it quickly?
Yes, that would be nice.
So for us, we don't tell just the nice things. So we have been appointed to another festival to work with, and we realize this is something which is not really in our interest, because we work a lot on, not just that we are working a lot in performing arts practices, but we also work a lot with social inclusion and youngsters. So we were really looking for some partners where there can be real co-learning, and I think this is the hardest, and that's, if we are talking about surprises, this is the other big surprise for me, that there was the possibility that this is a two-way learning circle, and that we could really, with Barefeet Theatre in Lusaka, Zambia, we could really open a way to, where there is equality in who is learning what. And we ended up with a creation specifically for youngsters. The theme was also co-chosen, and it was super interesting because it was around environment and environmental protection, but it mostly came from the youngsters around Barefeet, and Barefeet is working a lot with really underprivileged youngsters in Zambia, and specifically in Lusaka. But what for us was really interesting in this process was that we learned how to work with youngsters and to understand that this is very much similar, and that's not this kind of, we go there to help or they come here to help, but that this is a real co-creation. So we created a performance which then was performed in Hungary, then also in Zambia, and then later on, by surprise, we also went to Bagamoyo in Tanzania. So that was like, when we were in Lusaka, it came out that almost everybody in the team will be there, except one of the Hungarian performers is not there, so why don't we do it also there? So we also had the capacity. And the performance was just a ship to bring more, workshops around youngsters, workshops around kids. We have been spending 2 weeks in Zambia, and 10 days we have been in different children groups all around, and the same happened also in Hungary and then also in Tanzania. So it was very interesting, and that it was a real collaborative approach in that sense.
I just wanted to say there was something interesting that happened with the residency program and the residency exchange when the Eastern European artists came to Tanzania, and vice versa, the East African artists came to Poland, because it was a research residency, and they were exploring each other's histories. And in the works that they produced, they found quite a lot of similarities in their histories and the way things are. So for me, that would never have happened if there was no movement and physical engagement of the spaces and the people that we want to work with. So for me, that was actually quite interesting to see. Yeah, I hope you all saw the exhibition somewhere, either here or in Tanzania.
I also wanted to ask something more about the e-publication, since it's been 2 years since it's publishing. I'm curious about the resonance of it, like how is it being perceived now also after these 2 years, and what kind of texts can be found there? Are there really academic texts, or are there also experimenting with the form of text and writing?
Yes, we are lucky that we have online publication, and this publication is available in so many languages. So I'm not expert in just searching and analyzing how many people were able just to read it or just open the PDFs, but I think, and just Samba help me maybe, and Carolina, I think that is visible, and like in Polish. So when I'm speaking with colleagues or students, they are surprised because of diversity of forms in such quite simple online book. So we have poetry, we have academic chapter, we have also a piece with 3 voices, 3 woman voices, focusing on different narrations and like dialogues. What else we have there? We had also. Let me think carefully.
Interview?
Yeah, interview, of course. And I think this is something challenging. This is still challenging because the interview, even if it was 2 or even 3 years, 3 years ago, many topics from this interview are still, important, and even visa, right? Difficulties to travel, mobility. You discussed it before, and I think that many similarities. You mentioned that many historical similarities in chapters or just analysis connected with searching for knowledge from below. Right, indigenous or traditional messages, and then the way how the authors decided to deconstruct it and adapt to the nowadays seems to be really crucial and important for us in 21st century, even 3 years or 2 years after we publish this book. What is also important, I think that this book, due to the diversity of forms and also messages, is quite important for different generations, right? It's not only like we, people who know the art and are interested in that what happened in our countries and different part of Europe and Africa. But I think that within this book we are able to open the door to knowledge which seems to be very universal. And I think this is the biggest value of this book.
Mm-hmm. Maybe each of you can take a sip of water, or in case you would like that. And I will ask the next question. Is a bit cheeky, so you have a time to think about it. I'm curious if you could share like one encounter throughout these years that stayed with you. It could be like a personal encounter, could be like in the admin part. It doesn't have to be something big that happened, like, but just something that stayed with you. Maybe like a sentence or a word that you will take. Oh, maybe you don't take it, but something that stayed with you.
I have one very funny story. We were organizing this Bare Feet festival in Zambia, Lusaka, and I told it's bureaucracy, right? And then I told my partner, you know what, it's a joke. I will go into the municipality to organize all the papers. And I went in, and it was super funny, because they couldn't understand what I'm doing there with the cultural festival. I was all the time smiling. Everybody's, you have this kind of pressure of the whole bureaucratic system there in the municipality. And then you are there because you are from another continent. You feel like, I'm here enjoying myself. So it was really a nice experience, I have to be honest with you. And then we loved a lot about it with the partners, that how funny is that next time we have to do the same around. So if I'm asking for papers or stuff like that, they should go into the municipality, get lost in the whole thing, and just enjoy the whole, because that's also the way to understand how the system is working, a little bit the culture. There are all over very different people doing very different paperworks. It's really very complicated, stamping, then have to have an invoice which you pay at the third corner. So it's really I enjoy that stuff, and I learned like, okay, this is another way to do things and have fun in it. And he was super surprised. So I came back with the car, flagging with the paper like, here it is, all the necessary stamp are on it and everything.
Lilian, maybe.
I think for me, what has stayed is the past 4 years. Truly, a lot has happened. Some we can't control at all, wars, geopolitical issues. But what has stuck with me and I carry out of here is the resilience of the people who were in the deconfining project for 4 years, and all the Zoom calls and all the WhatsApp groups. I don't know how many WhatsApp groups we have so many WhatsApp groups and all the messages, but also people stayed there. Nobody outright, I've not seen anyone who has been like, no guys, I'm done, I'm out. No, everybody's still here. The invitations kept coming, the network kept expanding, and openly everybody would just accept and say, yeah, let's keep going, despite everything else and all the challenges that we've been through. So for me, that energy I take with me, and I think that's something that's really stood out, to the and it gives you hope to maybe you're still in the right track of working in arts and culture. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Ursula.
So, I think, Carolina, it was 1 month ago. You sent me pictures, and I was sitting at the university working with many bureaucratical things. I opened my mobile phone, and there were like orange pictures from Wrocław, and I was like very busy. So I just checked, okay, nothing interesting. But in the evening, when I was at home, I decided just zoom the pictures, and what happened? It was exhibition in Wrocław with quotations from our book. I was so surprised and thankful to Carolina and the team, because for me, it was really, really important message that, wow, the sentences and simple words about art, science, and how they are connected are still visible, and ordinary people who just walk are in the city center. They can just see, look, and maybe understand and analyze the sentences. So thank you for that. Art is very visible.
Well, it was simply to thank you for your work, all of your work, because it was an exhibition that we managed to do in order just to finish well and to say, to everybody, thank you, because you did amazing job. And but going to your question about encounters, to be honest, I remember all of them. Because it's so funny and special when you meet people and they are people, they are not framed in the Zoom meeting, they have flesh and body and, and it was with all the smiles and sorrows and everything that is included. And I remember exactly the first moment Lilian and Samba was about to come. It was 2023, I believe. We had like so many doubts because we still believe that our country is maybe not ready for this kind of a collaboration. We have so many problems within, and we expected a different situation, and it was all so lovely, I remember all the laughs and all the chats and sitting long in the night, experiencing just this way of exchanging emotions and fun, and that was really special and amazing for me. And this is something that is constantly vivid and visible, because whenever we meet, it's the same. Like, wow, you're here. It happens here, it happens in Chemnitz or in Dar es Salaam, where we were in February this year, and in Berlin a week ago, right? So yeah, it's really about people and about relations.
Right, thanks for sharing those anecdotes and things you take from this collaboration. As you, Karolina, said at the beginning, you were 12 partners, and many, of course, more individuals and people who kind of within those organizations helped and supported. Many people across also different disciplines, countries, from different cultures, different ways of working. How did it work? I wanted to ask about the complex topic of equality, but of course that's very big, and taking the history, of course, of colonial history. I think that's something very complex to speak about equality between Europe and the African continent today. Still, of course, one of the example is the mobility, which wasn't equal at all for partners from Europe traveling to Africa and those from Africa coming to Europe. But how did you approach this way of working to really have all voices in a way in one level, or be heard in the same way? And was it even possible, or is it still a process, perhaps?
One explanation, just bear with me. I'm overheated. I'm super tired after so many days of and I'm also in my perimenopause. My brain is working in a very different way I expected. So please bear with me. And so we had 12 partners in the EU, and more than that in Africa. So we are all together like almost 30 different organizations. So NGOs, national theaters, what else? Museums, like institutes, like organizations of all kinds. And to be honest, it was super demanding. But then the EU has the answer. Just you need to create the work packages and it will all work well. So the structure was that in every VP we have colleagues and friends from different organizations. So, for example, in our VP, we have 2 organizations from Central Europe and 3 organizations from East-South Africa. And that was our routine. I mean, this collaboration was our aim and our challenge. So within this very big, beautiful group, there were 7 work packages, right? And no guidance. The structure was created artificially by the EU, and no guidance. But it was at the very beginning quite hard. It was on us to create the partnership, on us to create the rules, and maybe this was something something special, something unique, because we all came with open minds, open hearts. And that's why we were able to create such a unique group of organizations, co-operators, co-partners, and I cherish this so much. But maybe you want to speak, please.
I guess for me I think it was a blessing that the EU didn't have a structure for us, because then the dynamic that we managed to create didn't have a hierarchy. It was, like you mentioned, we just meet and have conversation. And I think a lot of the work actually was done in the conversations in between the actual doing of work. So the informal meetings, and the garden sittings. Those are the places where we did a lot of talking and thinking, and this could be the. But even at those levels, there was never I come in as so and so, so you must know. It was always a friendship. It was always we're doing this together, right? But also the other thing for me that was useful was always eating together. Guys, I'm a big foodie person. So anything that you were doing when you sit and eat and drink together, on my side, on my belief, kind of solidifies the friendship and the long-term intent to actually materialize whatever it is that you've spoken to, or in whatever grandeur you're talking about. So for me, those two things, eating was very important, guys. Still is. Looking for dinner partners from here.
I remember Gosia and Michał coming back from their curatorial residency from Nafas Art Space, and they were just like, "Oh my God, Carolina, and the food was so delicious." And it was Gosia. She's sitting here in the first row,
Yeah. So yeah, I think food plays quite a big role in a good cooperation. Honestly, yeah. Nobody wants to eat with someone they don't like.
Yeah. Definitely. The best conversations happen always at the table, that's for sure. And also perhaps those that we don't allow ourselves to speak on big stages, or something that we can say in a nicer way to each other. Now I would like to think a bit for the future now, after the cooperation, collaboration, partnership is in some form over. What stays and what will perhaps come in the future. I also wanted to ask you about the importance for you that this Deconfining project was framed specifically between Central and Eastern European countries and Southwestern African countries. Southeastern African countries, exactly. In the case of Tanzania, we had a similar political system, socialism, of course, in a different way. I think it's hard to compare, but also a form of socialism. So in that way, perhaps there is certain similarities or understandings, historical understandings that would be different, let's say, between France and Central African country. If you could maybe elaborate on that, if this specific kind of context, the collaboration between those countries and regions, how it strengthened perhaps this cooperation and your understanding.
So I think what was good about Deconfining was the allowing the room to try and experiment. Like Carolina said earlier, for my perspective, for my own thinking, Poland was not the first thing. When I think about Europe, it wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna look for a partner in Poland. It was never top of my head. Like, okay, there's this. It felt inaccessible. Could not access.
What would be at the top of the head back then?
Back then would be the people who are in country. So the Goethe Institute, which is German, Alliance Française, which is France. We are big on publicizing everything to do with culture and French culture. So those would be, because they're always in your face, right? But even in country, the Polish embassy is very quiet and it's background. But this project kind of opened that door that there is this, first all these similarities that we have, but also it is very possible to explore and actually produce something beautiful together. So for me, that was a big plus, and not just cooperation and creating work and doing the EU project, but also informing lifelong friendships, and sisterhood, and places where you can ask people for advice and and talk and be together. Yeah, I guess.
We had long conversations between before the open call for texts for the publication, how to narrow the topic down, because it was obvious for us. Deconfining is about Europe and Africa. Oh my God, half of the world, right? How can we have a conversation about Europe and Africa? It's like 1.5 billion people, right? And even more stories. And so before we came with the open call, together with Gosia, together with Ula, with Samba and Natasha, Lilian, with Barna, we said, okay, no. We need to just find our own way. And what was, I believe, very important for the whole group was to find a new narration, find something that finally will represent not only a general, oh my God, sorry, bear with me, a general opinion or this Western-centric story, but we wanted to focus on our stories, that we have it, we had it, we have it, and we want to keep working on it, like the Central Europe, East Africa, those relations that were here in the past, and it's so strong and unique, and just as you said, this experience we had in the past. So, for example, the collaboration in terms of architecture and urbanism, and all those individuals that were traveling between Eastern Europe and East Africa in order to, educate or build some new narrations, teach. It was so big, right? So why should we focus on something that is happening in the UK, in the US, and so on? We have our stories, right? Let's focus on this, and it's so important. And that was simply the very beginning of all that, and it ended up with a beautiful publication with unique artistic pieces, also on these very topics, like Michalina's with socialistic greetings. So the artist that was telling the story of the cooperation between Bauhaus architecture in Tanzania and Rhodesian migrants in Tanzania. Who of you knows this story, right? Even the Germans in Leipzig, in Berlin, they don't know this story, right? In Chemnitz, especially, But it's so interesting, and I believe that it's really a high time that we somehow skip this Western-centric way of telling stories.
Yeah, I can add a little bit concerning. We don't only work on this topic specifically just in deconfining. We also have other project called Contested Desires, for example, and this whole understanding of the Hungarian society of what is colonization, what is our history with Africa. Oh, we have nothing to do with it. We've never. And then when you start to understand this whole context beside, which is not just the communism, which is there were very strong links, but also beforehand and in Central Europe, which is in between. We were not simply just sometimes colonizers, but we were also the ones colonized. So all this conversation to be brought up and understanding from the society that this is super relevant. And I have a very good historian friend of mine who is, we are making a lot of presentation about it. We are inviting him quite often to really go deep into this. And I see the people whom are coming to this presentation, when they start to understand that there is a way deeper roots and a way deeper story behind all the past and why it is Central Europe. And it's also, I think, a little bit like we call it Central Europe and we call it Eastern Africa, and also talk a little bit in a blockish way, which is also very typical in both circumstances. That we always say, it's not Poland, Hungary, Czech Republic, but we just say if we go to for example, Eastern Africa, that we're coming from Central Europe, or like that's also something which is a very similar aspect there.
May I add something? Yes.
Of course.
Let me just move to that what Lilian mentioned about big narrations, and I would like to share a personal story. Many years ago, I was a PhD candidate, and I was a part of international network of colleagues from France, Spain, Germany. And my colleague from France, she decided to call me one day, and it was like short conversation. Ula, we will fly to Georgia. We are looking for a partner from Poland. It's very important for us that we will have such a partner. Are we able to find students? And you will be the coordinator, so we will fly to Georgia. So it was my dream to fly to United States of America. So my answer was, of course, with pleasure. I decided to call my mom with such wonderful message, Mom, I will fly to United States. And then in the evening, I opened my email. And in the message was Georgia, South Caucasus. So you're absolutely right. We have big narrations and we have cultural codes, and we are there with stereotypes and a lot of messages from the past which are also used to create big messages. So, of course, I spent 15 years working with people from South Caucasus, from Georgia. It was a wonderful time in my life. And I know that I will never get so many unique experiences in United States. Because, Georgia and South Caucasus was, for me, the best example how I can just explore similarities. And I think that in this project, we were lucky just to find many similarities. And you mentioned even food, right? So for me, looking from the academic point of view, it's something like humanizing research methodology. So we explore everything what we understand as human beings, just being together, enjoying and exploring the food, maybe drinks, right? Music, sitting together and discussing. So I think this is the best part of such projects, that we can understand much more than that what this project mean, right? We can understand that we are people and we are similar.
Lilian, was there anything that you found similar between the Polish people and the people from Tanzania?
If I use Gosha as a no, we're all very welcoming and warm people. If you come to Tanzania, I think we open up, hospitable, eat with me, we'll laugh with you. And similarly, here in Poland, the welcoming has always been top notch. Even if we share some anxieties, like Carolina mentioned beforehand, but also those anxieties are shared, right? So we're very much into sharing each other's humanity. So that was interesting. I mean, Gosha. Gosha is probably the most Polish character I know. So, yeah.
Is she?
Yeah, of course, but the whole team, yeah. So.
If the confining could last longer, maybe 1 year, maybe another 4 years, what would you wish to develop more or add to the project? Something that didn't manage to happen?
Boss. 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 You are the boss. A boss. Szefowa.
Bear with me.
So be creative with answering, it doesn't have to be something.
Yeah, actually, no. I wanted to tell you the story because, like a year ago, we were fully aware of the fact that the project is coming to an end, and that in order to be able to continue, we need to write another project. Right? We are in the cultural industry. We are here to do projects. So, but on the other hand, they want us to create relations, like have very fruitful cooperation and so on and so forth. But then we need to constantly apply for money and for projects. And then we started to dig a little bit deeper. Is it possible to have another deconfining? And this project is under Creative Europe, so a program of the European Union, and actually the answer was no. Actually, because of what is happening in the world, that was not the case in 2021 when we were preparing the application. There is a huge change, and if in 2021 there were so many people saying, yes, this is the right moment, we should build the European-African relations, we need to test it, we need to develop, we want to have it like very vivid. Now even the rules are the same, all the rules and procedures didn't change. It's no longer the case. It's not on the table anymore. And that's the saddest part. But it was not my aim to say that is so disastrous. But what I wish is just to have the continuation, just to have the possibility. Because in my point of view, this is so damn important.
For me, I think what we started, I would speak from residency exchange point of view, only scratched the surface of what we could possibly do. Tanzania, for example, is more than just Dar es Salaam. There are so many other nuanced places to visit, to explore the culture, history, and so on and so forth in other regions. And it's actually very different from one region to another. I think it's the same with Lusaka. And I also think even Eastern and Central Europe is the same. I don't think what you find in Poland and Hungary is the same, or what you find here in Drostrov and in Warsaw is the same. So I think there's still so much to explore that if I were to extend for 1 more 5-10 years, I would go deeper into what we have already started. I think this was a good place to start, but there's still some meat to be brought up to the surface. Yeah.
For me, it will be not to continue. Not to continue in a way that this is because it's about East Europe and Africa, but because that's natural. So now what we try to do also in other projects, like in Erasmus Exchange, that there are a certain number of people coming just because they are people and not because they're coming from Eastern Africa, and that we really build it on some kind of a shared knowledge to understand that there is this two-way of communication, and not just because we try to embed it too much into the process. And also I think when we have been talking a little bit about it with Carolina, how to continue and what to think about it, then that was one of the core ideas, that instead of saying we do it because it's a cooperation, we do it because I think there are issues or challenges where we can find solutions together. And that's a little bit the natural way of real cooperation, that it's not just coming from that you have to cooperate because it's two different continents, but you have to cooperate because common knowledge is more than separated.
I have just simple dream. So for me, it will be important to work and publish the second volume of the book, because there are still more and more stories which should be shared. And it's not only about Zambia, Hungary, Poland, or or Tanzania, it's about young people, artists, who are very mobile, so they move. And there are in between. And I think we have a big, not only research gap, but I think also gap in the knowledge that there are so many young artists who have stories to share, but the question is, where is the space to share? So this is my dream.
It almost seemed like the last word, but I have more. I don't know, we still have a bit of time. I thought since we have Barna here, I don't want to put you on the pedestal as the representing person of Hungary, but since the change of government, I'm curious how like the cultural sector is looking in terms of supporting such or different projects in the future, and how is the kind of cultural sector being moved now, and
so concerning Hungary, it was quite an abuse sector in a sense that it was really forced into the, supporting the political narrative. I think what is happening now, it's still hopefully not the end, because now it comes very much back to the disciplines, and you have quite a lot of people, but I think it's happening also in other countries, who were somehow put it aside, and now you have a lot of talk about literature as such and theater as such, so it's still very conservative way of thinking in that sense. But I think slowly the new government will also go more into this social aspect of culture, and I'm also always citating here this book which is called, I don't remember the writer, but that culture is not an industry, but that this is a human right. So the title of the book is Culture is Not an Industry. I think everybody in the industry has to read it, because it really talks about this importance of understanding that this is a human right, and it's there because it should be there, and it's not because it generates something. But also more and more the possibility to use it in diplomacy, the possibility to use it in education, and I think it's slowly coming up, and I'm quite positive. The good news concerning the Hungarian culture system is that the previous government was really so much abusing it that if they just simply don't do anything, it will just get better. And also there was also no financial problem on a large scale in culture in Hungary. They spent a lot of money on it, but on look it up on the internet. Very funny things will come up.
Lilian, I was also wondering, since we have here you on the stage, now after 4 years and after deconfining being finished, can you imagine a different non-European partner for Tanzania and for other countries of the African continent? Is there something that is also interesting there, or is it Europe still the most interesting partner, or the global order is changing as such that perhaps there is something else happening?
At Nafasi Art Space, my biggest partners are the local artists first, always. Because without them, there is no point of that entire institution being there. So for me, local partnerships are by far the biggest and the most important, right? We maintain European partnerships because it's necessary to us to have that in our culture and to have the exchanges and to expand our minds and knowledge and so on and so forth. But within Africa, we have so many local partnerships in Kenya, in Uganda. There's a map of Nafasi partners everywhere in Africa. And they may not be to the scale of deconfining or any other European funded project, but they still happen. Even if it's two of my artists who went to Burundi for a month to sit in a gallery and produce work, that for me is a fantastic partnership. They have left Nafasi, they have gone to see, to gain curiosity and look for knowledge elsewhere. Within Africa, it's fantastic. If it means me flying to South Africa or to Zambia just to sit with Samba or Kona, for me, that's fantastic. This meeting here, for me, is already done, right? So my biggest network of partners is my local artists and the local spaces that maybe you have seen, the Mudas, the Asidevas, and so on and so forth. And then, for the reasons that are necessary, I have European partners and other partners, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
applause. Move the audience a bit. We are already speaking 1 hour. I think it's been quite some of our energy with this heat. I wanted to slowly open to some questions from the audience. We also have some partners in the audience. Perhaps they could also would like to say something or ask.
No.
We have gifts for those who will ask questions. Seriously.
Or speak on the experience of being at Nafasi.
Oh, that's nice.
I have a question for Lillian. As you know, we started with my slightly illusioned idea that doing video art is going to be easy and great and fantastic. Ended up being much more of a challenge. But we did do it, and we had this amazing exhibition at Nafasi that your team put together, and it was a gorgeous opening, and it was really great to be there for it. And I wanted to ask you, do you think that this deconfining experience kind of changed the local community's approach to moving image and working with video? Did it have any impact on the conversations about that medium?
I think for my artists at Nafasi, it has given them a new idea, a new way of execution. I know now, based on some of the things we had bought for deconfining, equipment and because a lot of artists just need that space to experiment with a medium. It's very expensive to produce videos in where I come from, and also even more expensive to exhibit them because of all the technical equipment that you need. So for them, they may have an idea of what video art is and how it may work, but they may never get the chance to maybe experiment with something or even create something for showing. But now we have some equipment that is there. We also have, I myself was not versed with whatever Powell was sending, the technical writer but now at least I can even advise them on how to go about. So that expansion and that room to play that we can now afford them is giving them something new to look at. And I mean, TikTok is also a video platform, no? So they can also produce for such platforms. It's not, But at Nafasi now they have an opportunity to come and have that area to play. Yeah.
The mic is coming.
Usha, there is a gift for you.
Hello. Thank you very much for speaking to the idea of intercontinental collaboration. And I think your panel has been exhibiting the possibilities inherent in intercontinental collaboration. Europe, Poland, Tanzania, and the many different places this project has gone to. I wanted to ask Carolina and anybody that feels this is an important question in terms of reimagining funding of the culture sector here in Poland and beyond looking at EU funds. What are other alternatives that you've been exploring to continue the amazing work that you're doing? For instance, this festival, which has been a highlight. I see a lot of people have really turned up in big numbers. And I'm interested in knowing how you've been able to sort of galvanize a whole community around this festival and how you actually sustain the work that you do beyond the EU funding. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this project. It's already 24 years, 24 years of the survival, 20 years of Art Transparent Foundation. And to be honest, it was a process to sustain this all of these activities, and actually it's a funny question as well, because we reached to the point where we are thinking what are now the alternatives, because for many years we were co-financed or financed by local governments, which is the case nowadays as well, but we also got the support from the Ministry of Culture, which is like national institution, but the top, or the creme de la creme, was the European Union funds, and we have it, right? But and what now, because also Europe is changing and taking a very different direction. So what will happen next? To be honest, we don't know, but the time is, we started our work on the new strategy for Art Transparent for the coming years, because we are fully aware that actually something is coming to an end, and we definitely need to also build some new survival strategies. You know, we are an independent organization. If independency exists, then we are independent. So we do not belong to the municipality, to the ministry. We are just here because we want to do that. And this is a great group of people who are doing much more than they are even expected in order to sustain this idea of bringing art closer to people. And it was a very huge task for many years. We did quite a lot. We survived a lot, even the regime changes. For many years we had here very far-right government. For now it's a bit lighter, but we are fully aware of the fact that everywhere in Europe all the governments are turning right. So it's not a place for public art, for socially engaged artists, and so on and so forth. So we believe that it's simply another strategy of survival. And we are now in this very process. Okay, Barna is living together with his beautiful family. They are just about to jump on the night train back to Budapest. So he will just say goodbye.
And one more round of applause.
Yeah, thank you very much. Sorry that I have to leave. Thank you very much.
Here. Is there any more questions from the audience?
Thank you for a lovely, light-hearted panel. I think you achieved what you wanted in terms of just reflecting in positive ways, and you deserve it. Not everything has to be, strife and all of that. And I note that the question obviously has shifted because you need to think about a future that's uncertain. And I wanted to maybe offer something that I offered in the keynote that I did in Chemnitz around, as the world is polarizing, that whatever momentum has been built in this movement, it can afford to find new iterations, and they will come. And sometimes it's in stillness, and that is the thing about movement, is that the movements, that the issue that you galvanizing around is not static, because your activism around it is not being met by a passive other. So to just maybe really lean into that generative space, which I think you can, but I just felt the shift in your energy, Katarina, when that question came, and I just wanted to kind of offer you a long distant hug that says, you know, there's that movement is as powerful as the movement counter to this, and somewhere there, something beautiful is going to emerge. So endings are also beginnings. Well done, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Any more questions from the audience? Yes.
Thank you very much for such a great art festival. I'm really amazed. This is my first time in survival here. And I'm really also amazed with the place where the festival was taken this year. And my question is maybe a little bit arrogant. Do you have any place, and can you maybe tell a little bit about the next survival? More or less, please.
Well, I will be very, very honest. We don't know it yet.
Okay.
That's the thing. We have no clue where when the 25th survival will take place. We are in several different conversations, and you know, it's a very long and complicated process to convince the owner of a space and to build a common understanding in order to build such a festival. So usually we don't talk about it before the release of the open call that takes place late autumn each year, because it's a really complicated process. But for now, the most honest answer I can give you is I really don't know.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm looking forward.
Thank you so much.
I think, as I don't see any more hands, one, I always like to give the panelists the last word. What are you gonna do for the rest of survival? Did you see already the festival? Are you checking out? Are you having dinner?
Actually, so I've been around the spaces. I've seen the work. Some quite intense, some quite emotional, and I'm kind of ready for dinner. I could eat. Yeah, so I guess from here it's to connect some more with people here, and to Connor's words, maybe not, maybe find new beginnings with Art Transparent or anyone else that we can take on beyond this moment, and yeah, to have a good energy.
Thank you.
Well, my plan is to enjoy, because as an organizer, you know, we were all pretty tired. It was a very long period of time to prepare this festival. It's big and huge, and we are just a small team. But always Tuesday for me is the day where I can simply enjoy. I try just to be, and that's my plan for tomorrow. No discussions, no workshops, no additional activities. I will just stay and I will cherish the moment.
Or today or tomorrow.
So today I still have space, and I will enjoy the exhibition, especially for children, the sport for children and young people, because the sport is very important for me. I was involved in preparation, and I see one boy who probably will guide me to this part with especially vampires. And I'm really interested in this part. But so tomorrow, early morning train to Warsaw and directly going to work, and the students are waiting for exams. So I wish you that you will enjoy also this evening and the last day of this beautiful and very, very emotionally engaging festival. Thank you.
Thank you.